Hey, welcome to episode 20 of We Can't Code, So We Criticize. This is a weekly video game podcast between two friends. It's a video game podcast. Talk about movies, games, all that. My name is Ben.
I'm Michael. What?
Are you kidding me?
What?
Nothing. Whoop whoop!
Damn it! I was waiting to get. I was gonna do it. Fuck.
I knew you were gonna wait to. I thought I'd just steal your thunder there.
Fuck! I was waiting for you to finish up what you're saying.
No, you didn't. I wasn't gonna give it to you. We did our introduction. We said everything, and I was like, okay.
Oh,
he's got that stupid fucking smile on his face. Okay. So, Mike, how are things?
Things are going pretty good. I can't complain. What I've done this week is play just more Breath of the Wild. That game has been sucking me into it pretty good. I also actually watched the women's hockey's in the Olympics for the goal of the United States versus Canada. America took it. Fuck yeah. It was actually a really fucking good game too. It was really exciting. Went to the sixth period. So it went to overtime, and then it went to two face-offs, which was really cool. It was really intense and a really good game. Both teams were just freaking amazing.
I don't know too much about women's hockey. I
Neither
don't
do
know too
I.
much about any hockey.
Well, I know a lot about hockey. I never really got into the women's hockey, so I didn't know what to expect in the Olympics. But man, they were really bloody good. I mean, I'd hope they'd be good because they're fighting for the gold and all that stuff in the Olympics. So, but yeah, it was just a really good game. But the Breath of the Wild, though, just to get back into games, I finally passed one of the checkpoints in the game, so I defeated.
What do you mean?
I defeated one of the Guardians. Well, I turned one of the Guardians back to normal.
Sure.
In a sense.
Okay.
In the water world, so
yeah,
really good. The game is just fantastic. I have not gotten bored of it yet. The side quests are really good. They haven't been distracting me from the main story, which was nice. And I have one complaint though, is that sometimes what do they call them? The temples where you go into and do these puzzles to get to upgrade Link. What do they call them? Like temples?
Oh, the shrines.
The shrines. I did run into one that was super annoying. I don't know if you remember this one. It's when you had to shoot a ball into a goal. Do you remember that one at all?
I mean, there's wow, can't speak. A lot of them kind of do something like that.
Well, yeah, with this one, it was basically like playing golf, because in Breath of the Wild, you have the ability to freeze things, and then when you freeze them, if you hit them while they're frozen, they get like a momentum hit then. And so when they unfreeze, they shoot straight off in the air then, and all that.
Oh man, I've been playing this game so wrong. Okay.
What? You never knew that?
I never knew about that.
Yeah. And so like in this one thing, you have to shoot these balls into like a little circle thing. And my god, it was so frustrating because when you hit them, it damages your weapon too at the same time. So I lost 4 weapons to complete this one shrine. And I was playing next to my girlfriend, losing my shit, going, just get in the fucking hole. Because, like, yeah, when you hit them, they get a little arrow showing which direction they're going to go. And then the more you hit it, the bigger it gets. And at a certain point, though, it can't go any further. You can't add, like, unlimited momentum to it. So it won't, like, shoot straight off into the moon. But, yeah, it's, it was just really annoying because it was just it was interesting, but it was just a really stupid puzzle because it was obvious what you had to do. And also another problem with it is to link it, the controls are very tight, but to actually line up Link perfectly straight with something, which you never have to do in the game except for like this one incident, it's kind of difficult, even with the analog sticks. The analog sticks are not too sensitive for him to get like precise movements like to the teeth, so it was very annoying to do that. Because if you hit it just at a slight angle, the object will go in a completely different direction instead of just going straight. Luckily, all they actually do is to make the ball go straight. So after a while, I kind of got the technique down to how to make it so Link faces it perfectly straight. But it took a while to get that, which was kind of annoying, honestly. But besides that, though, the game is 10 out of 10. Game of the year, obviously, it should have been. And fucking blast. Having fun with it. But since it's been absorbing all my time, and I still haven't gotten able to get a new gaming mouse, and still traveling for work, all that stuff, so I have like no internet connection.
Just like pick up a mouse you pass Walmart on your way out of
town.
No,
I want a good one. I want to buy a really good one. I don't want to waste just like $5 for a mouse I'm going to use for just 7 days and never use it again.
Then order one online. Like, it's gonna be here at the end of the week or something when you'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So there's no point in me ordering it. It's like I still wouldn't have it with me. I don't like using shitty mice. Sorry. It's my thing, and plus, Breath of the Wild's been sucking all my time anyways, though. It's so much fucking fun.
Whatever mouse you end up going with, I can almost guarantee they've got at least one of them at Walmart or Target.
Yeah, maybe. I'll take a look later.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. I've just been lazy, honestly.
I kind of figured as much.
Yeah.
I just felt like calling you out. You can't go and get a mouse. No, you're not. You are not. You are not escaping out of that one.
I'm just being fucking lazy with it. Yeah, I was just being lazy, and it just gives me a reason to play more of it, not to worry about playing other games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's I've been playing it nonstop for every single time I come back from work, I just play it. I'm having fun with it every time.
Yeah.
There's always something new I'm learning too. Oh, I learned how to do shield grinding too.
I still don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you just hold the shield button, you jump in the air while holding the shield button, and then you hit A, and then that's all you do.
Oh, okay.
It's really, because I didn't know that either, because this random guy's like, hey, you see that guy over there? Yeah, he's my buddy. Do you want to go up there and talk to him? I'm like, okay.
No.
You have no, and say sure. It just immediately just teleports you up to him. I'm like, okay. I could have just walked up there. You didn't have to teleport me up there, but all right.
That's my buddy. You should go talk to him. Oh, I'm so getting robbed.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, the first the guy says to you, he's like, yeah, we're the Shield gang. I'm like, oh, I'm getting robbed.
Hey, that's my gang, brother. You should go talk to him. You have money, right?
The funny thing, that's the joke too. The guy was like, yeah, we're the Shield gang, even though it's just me and this other guy. Please buy a shield, because otherwise we have no money. I'm like, okay, you're not really much of a gang, are you? Shouldn't you be just robbing me?
I feel like you don't understand the idea of a gang.
Yeah, you don't ask for money.
We're a shield gang, but it's more of like a charity if you want to give us money, or it's more of like a normal fucking business because we give you goods.
Yeah.
We give you goods and services for cash.
It's just really funny. They just absolutely don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so all it did, he showed me to do is like, cool, I already have a full inventory of shields. I don't want to buy your shitty shields, and just rode down the mountain in the shield, and it was really fun. It was cool.
Yeah.
You can jump while you're in the shield and all that stuff. You have to actually use some moving to actually gain speed and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool and all that.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a nice feature. Probably never going to use it again unless I want a fast way going down a mountain, I guess, without a horse. Yeah.
So I've done a lot of the temples. I've done 3 out of the 4. I'm still working on the Goron one, but They briefly touch on the shield surfing in the in another temple area, outside the main town that leads to the temple, and they're like, yeah, if you jump up and select your shield and whatever. And so I spent a good 10 minutes jump up, select shield. Do I have to go into the inventory? No, that'd be dumb. So I was
you just hold shield. You just block, jump, and then hit A, and then
I just feel retarded now.
Well, the thing is, the game, when the guy talks to you, he literally the game menu, a little screen shows up what buttons to press. It's when they could just simply say, press the shield button, but it shows you exactly which buttons to press in what order. So yeah, it was okay, cool. So I know how to do that now. Never gonna probably use it ever again, but yeah, great game though. 10 out of 10 still.
Sure.
Having a lot of fun, except for that one stupid shrine level. Fucking pissed me off. It's no, just no.
Anything else?
Sadly, no. It's been a pretty simple week for me. How about you? What have you been doing this week?
I've been playing a bunch of Rainbow Six Siege again.
Nice.
That's good. I guess they had a free weekend on PlayStation a couple weeks ago, and my buddy doesn't have a PC. He's got a PS4, and he's been talking about it. So it kind of got me back into it.
Yeah, they're getting a zombie mode now in there too.
Yeah, that comes out in March. So we've got 2 weeks or something. Maybe...
I saw it. It's like Left 4 Dead. Honestly, you get from point A to point B, and I saw some gameplay of it, and it looks really cool because of the whole destructive thing. So the zombies just break through things too. They break through the walls, and in the game they have their own tank too, like in Left 4 Dead, that the big guy.
Yeah.
And it's really sweet because he charges through walls and that stuff. And sometimes if he whacks you, like in Left 4 Dead when you go flying, you can go flying through walls too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it looks. They added some. They have their own unique special creatures too, and it looks a lot of fun. It's pretty much exactly like Left 4 Dead. Go from point A to point B. Sometimes defend a point and all that stuff. But most of the time, yeah, just it's like Left 4 Dead, but really cool looking too with the graphics.
Yeah,
enhanced graphics. And it's also neat too because you can use the barricade stuff too for what you usually do in defense as well, which is really neat. And all the there's only a few characters you can select. You can't select every single one, but you can still select Chianka, the gunner guy.
I feel, oh man, Chanka's gonna be like number one class in that mode. If you know the direction that the zombies are coming, he's gonna go from the least played, most ridiculous class to like the number one, like everyone's fighting over Chanka.
And then what's cool too is that when you reach these like checkpoints, you can restash on your special ability skills too.
All right, that's cool.
And there's 2 new characters that they add into the game. One of them is the ability to inject everyone instantly with extra health, which they also get faster movement and faster reload. And if anyone is down, they're instantly up too, as well. Then.
That's crazy. How does that not completely shadow the Doc class?
I don't know.
The Doc gives you 20 health that slowly degrades over time.
Yeah. And then this is the same thing this woman does, except she does it to the whole team, and she doesn't be in the same room as you. She just presses a button, and then everyone gets a boost of, like, a small boost for a short while, like the doctor.
Man.
And then the other one is a guy where he has the ability to show where every enemy is for a short period of time. So I don't know if they're going to be allowed in competitive play, or...
No fucking way.
Because that woman does actually defeats the whole purpose of the doctor. Besides the fact he can pick himself up, though. She can't pick herself up. And
still.
And then the other guy just seems like, oh, you know where everyone is instantly. And it's like they have like a red mark around them, all that stuff. Instead of just like a simple, you know, when you mark people with drones, you get like a little red arrow where they were just marked at. Mm-hmm. With him, you see exactly where they're at, where they're moving, all that stuff for a short period of time. He can do that, I think, like 3 times or something like that.
There's no way those classes are going to be available in the main game, or at least not like in nerfed a little bit.
Yeah, like I probably won't see them in versus in PvP, but like in Terrorist Hunt, all that stuff, maybe. For sure. Like, I've seen him being used in Terrorist Hunt. I haven't been seeing him used in the, what is it, 5 versus 5, I think?
Yeah, just team, you know.
Yeah, I forgot how many. It's been a while since I played, so yeah, it's like 5v5. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen them in that yet.
Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. The fact that they're adding those classes in, and that Zombies is a seasonal game mode, I feel like there has to be some sort of nerfing or something to their skills, because if someone paid for that class and it wasn't available in multiplayer, and then Zombies went away, people would be pissed about that.
Oh, yeah.
So they're probably going to be in 5v5, but it's probably I'm sure that their skill set is going to be extremely nerfed or just totally different in some way.
And I'm kind of laughing too, because like how we talked about 2 podcasts ago, when then we brought that, our topic was about there are too many zombies and all that stuff, and are they good or bad being in them? Just now, you know, Metal Gear. We talked about this last podcast too.
Yeah.
Had their zombie game, and that was complete fucking shit.
I was gonna mention that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now freaking Siege, the game that I would never think would have zombies, has zombies in it, which honestly looks really good though.
Yeah, honestly, I would expect Siege to get zombies before fucking Metal Gear. If we're gonna be completely honest with each other.
But I've seen the gameplay and it looks fantastic. The level designs look really sweet too.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you're taking a survival game with destructible walls and a lot of first-person shooting and teamwork, in comparison to you're taking a solo player experience that has an open, vast world and a lot of like things that you can do with an espionage/sneak emphasis. Like, which game sounds like the better Zombies transition there?
And also, just like, to not bring up anything, but like Fortnite, that used to be a zombie game, but everyone hated that, and now it's just a PUBG game, you know? And that's actually kind of funny. So yeah, there are a lot of games that shouldn't have zombies to begin with, but there's still other ones that are coming with zombies in it that are pretty freaking sweet, like Siege.
It is funny that went full circle, where 2 podcasts ago we were talking about which game didn't need zombies, and then the podcast literally after that, Metal Gear Survive comes out, and we're like, wow, this is dog shit.
Yeah. And I saw later reviews too, like everyone's saying the exact same thing. This should never been made.
Yeah, like Video Game Donkey, the YouTuber, made a
yeah, I saw that
video
one
about
just yesterday, and I saw the Jim Kazishian as well. He talked about it as well too. It was just very funny. Everyone was on the same page as us. Like, yep, this is just bad.
Yeah.
And it's very sad too that this is their next. This is their first one without what's his name? I'm gonna butcher his name.
Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I'm also not getting it right. I'm sure that there's a little bit of accent.
It's gonna be a lot better than me.
Accentuation. That's not great.
It's gonna be still better than me, but that's like this is the first thing they come up with without him. I'm like, wow, just bravo on that one.
Well, they're not trying. Like, I didn't expect them to do anything great because what they're trying to do is just milk that series, milk the engine for everything it's got, and then Konami.
But the engine still works great, and you think that they could have just come with just like a whitewash game.
But Konami, I mean, this was news like a year ago. Konami decided that they were going to be focusing more on like Keno and gambling machines versus game. So I'm sure that they looked at this and they were like, okay, we can still squeeze some money out of this.
With a little effort.
Yeah, so I wasn't expecting like Metal Gear 6 or anything, honestly. I'm sure they did exactly what I expected them to do. They took an engine, they said that we could probably make more money out of this.
Yeah.
And they did the smallest viable product that they possibly could to get something. And of course, it's shit.
No, yeah, and it's like, and that is true. Like they said that, yeah, we're not really gonna do video games anymore, so they don't care. It's like we're making Pinko machines in Japan. You know, it's like fuck everything else.
Yeah,
it's easy money.
So in terms of what I've actually done this week, though, so Rainbow Six Siege was good. Actually, that's like pretty much the only game I played. I played a bunch of that. We got drunk and talked a bunch of shit to people last night. It was...
Oh, yeah?
That's something that I kind of started to say, and then I was like, I feel bad admitting that. But there was, I mean, like, you play video games with 11-year-olds, and of course, like, on Saturday, everyone's drinking, and you're, like, playing Siege, yelling at, like...
12-year-old boys
prepubescent, and yeah. It makes me feel not so good about the decision anymore. I started saying it, I was like, I sound like a fucking loser. Well, no surprises.
But after the shit
there.
that we had to deal with on playing online games, it's kind of nice to... It's kind of a dick thing to do, but it's like, that's the thing I don't like about online games. Just like, yeah. I don't know. I can't defend you. Sorry. I'm trying to think of a way to defend you, but yeah.
No, it's fine. Like I said, I hesitated. I probably shouldn't have admitted that, but whatever.
You're not the worst person ever.
I am the worst person ever.
We put it together. We've done that a bunch of times.
I'm gonna fuck your mom. Dude, you're 27. Yeah, yep, legal. Unlike you, don't get me.
I mean, how many times have we played like Killing Floor, you know, just ditch the group, just go straight to the bridge and start just going, you gotta pay the toll!
Yeah, no, we've completely fucked some people over in online games.
Honestly, though, we've done way better doing that than other people in Killing Floor, to be honest.
Yeah, sometimes crazy works as a strategy.
It does.
If we can't predict what we're going to do, there's no way that our enemy can.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Rainbow Six Siege, it was the game that I played. I played it on PS4 and I played it on PC.
How was it on the PS4?
I thought the controls were kind of wonky, so the leaning was hard to get into. So pretty much, left control stick, if you press down on it, you sprint. Mm-hmm. Right control stick, if you press down on it, you knife. But if you're aiming, that becomes your lean, is pressing down on the left and the right.
Oh, wow.
And it doesn't for having a button be two things is kind of weird, but when it's the heat of the moment of like I was trying to lean around a corner and I just kept knifing the corner as a guy came and shot me and I was like, son of a bitch, you know. Like I understand it makes sense that, you know, lean left, lean right, but like in the fucking moment you're like,
you're not thinking about
this isn't doing anything, and then your guy starts running and you're like, son of a bitch.
So good.
So I mean, I'm just biased because I've been playing.
Yeah,
it's officially been over a year now. But playing PC Rainbow Six Siege, so yeah, I'm obviously gonna be biased there. But it was fine. Yeah. Aside from that, so movies. I finished up South Park's most recent season.
Oh yeah.
They're no longer doing the story, I guess, where the season is kind of like built on itself.
Yeah, there's one major arc in the whole thing with like little branches of stories in it.
There's no more continuation. I mean, like each episode builds on itself, but it's not like a big end all reveal. Like each episode can be appreciated on its own, unlike the last 2 or 3 seasons. I thought it was a weaker season, but it still did. I mean, I think anything was better than last season. Last season was terrible, or I guess I should say the 20th season, 2 seasons ago.
What was that one?
With the member berries? I think that was.
Oh yeah, like I hardly watched. I haven't watched this. I honestly, after that season, I kind of started watching South Park in the middle of that season because I just couldn't get into it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so I haven't seen the other the newer ones, honestly.
Yeah, so I watched that, and then I also started to get into, I think I mentioned this before, my buddy gave me a Hulu account. What they have on Hulu is this show called Handmaid's Tale, which is advertised all the time. I'm sure that you probably have seen it, but it's like these women in cloaks, and they're like, the cloaks are like red, and they've got like the...
I don't get advertising as anything I watch now, so... I pay money not to get ads. I don't see ads. Sorry, I have no idea. Let me quickly look it up.
It doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
I only watched one episode, an hour long each episode. It's pretty much the summary is women. There's an extremely low birth rate.
Is it Handmaid's Tale? You said
Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
It's based on a book, but only like select few women can get pregnant, and it's not like they're picking. It's just like birth rates have significantly gone down. So there's these handmaids that, anyone that's fertile, essentially, they become handmaids. They're pretty much like a housekeeper or, like a normal maid for a house, but then they also are like doing like sexual servitude for the house that they're in. So like if the husband and wife that they...
Damn, that's dark.
Yeah. And then they're pretty much treated as a commodity instead of real people. So it's like, oh, my handmaid ran away, and they're like, oh, here's a refund. But the idea is that she feels like a number or like not a real person.
Well, yeah, I mean that's exactly what's happened to her.
Yeah. So I mean the fact that they all dress the same too, that like emphasizes that point. Anyway, it's got a couple.
You're gonna be treated like royalty. It's like, oh, you can have children. You must take really good care of you.
Yeah, you would almost think the opposite. Children are such a high commodity, and at the same time, these...
Yeah, it makes... Because, yeah, it's an interesting story, but I wouldn't think that it'd be treated like garbage. It's like, you need children, so, like, treat us like goddesses, because if you beat us, it's like...
I'm not gonna fuck your husband. Oh, wait, well, actually, I might now. No, I'm kidding.
It's just so weird.
I'm gonna enjoy it.
It's just like, why risk damaging the most important thing that you need to keep the population going?
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about that, but I'm only one episode in, so I'm not really in the point right now to make any heavy criticisms, but I guess it's got a whole big following, and
it's interesting to
we'll
me,
see how it turns out.
It's too dark for me. I'm not much of a fan of those kind of rapey storylines. It seems like heavily based on just rape. I'm like,
Well, it's not like...
It's not glorifying it anyway, but I find those very disturbing for me that I can't watch them.
Sure.
I'm not knocking it down either, but those are things that are really hard for me to watch for
some
reason.
It's not like she's like crying and weeping and the guy's just like... But, so...
Yeah.
Like it's like a general community thing. Agreed. Like we have to do this. This is the best way, and it obviously it's not the best way. But like the idea,
makes it really creepy.
It's not like they're like thrown into cages and shit. Anyway, if you're not interested, that's not a problem. I just don't want to paint the wrong picture.
No, exactly. And I'm not trying to make it like I'm thinking, oh, it's horrible. It's just one of those things that makes me like really uncomfortable. Especially like these small communities that agree on that. They make great stories, but they just make me super uncomfortable. Where I just can't really watch them. It's like one of the few things that like really terrify me is like really small towns where everyone knows everyone's business, and like this kind of stuff, where it's really just forced stuff like this.
Yeah, no, that pretty much describes the show. Is small town biz.
Yeah, and those really creep me out to a point. It's like, oh, I can't watch this. This is so weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a national belief that they got going on, but it feels very small towny. Like there's a bunch of guards and stuff, and everyone does know everyone, and they all there's a heavy emphasis on community.
Yeah, the production looks pretty good. I've like looked at some photos of it, and it looks nice. But like I said, those storylines really get to me. And but like I say though, like even I can't watch like extreme gores like Saw. Saws never got to me either because those are just too gory for me. But I'm not knocking them either because I can see why people enjoy watching them because I love bloody video games though too. Mm-hmm. Those always get a laugh out of those. Especially when I play Grand Theft Auto, I'm just running over people in the scooter while cops chase me. So I'm not going to judge anyone on what they like what it's entertaining wise.
Sure. Handmaid's Tale, South Park, most recent season, and Rainbow Six Siege. That's pretty much all I got going on.
Any other games besides Rainbow Six Siege?
No, I just kind of stuck with that one lately. Nice. I know I keep talking about getting around to Breath of the Wild, but honestly...
that's fine. I'm picking up that slack.
Yeah. I think I'll get back around to it eventually, but I'm gonna stop.
I want to get back to Siege though, not just for the zombie mode, but just after seeing the zombie mode and looking back at the gameplay, it's a really good game. You know, even though you have to deal with some multiplayer, you know, you have to deal with some randos. At least it's only for a short while. But yeah. And then with that, then do you want to hop over to our top 5 then?
Yeah, I can do that. So this week's top 5 was top 5 villains in games. The way that we described it is pretty much if that villain, that antagonist, wasn't in the game, it wouldn't be nearly as successful.
Yeah. I started last time, so this time it's your turn.
Yeah, sure. So I kind of took this list pretty passionately. We're going to start out kind of like dead slow, and then as we get to the top number 1, like I think my number 1 is fantastic. I think that my top 3 are really good. Number 4 and 5, they're decent, but honestly,
likewise, mine are like you as well.
Yeah.
After my 4 and 5, it's like I really agree with these. I think that they should be on here.
Yeah, and it has opened my eyes up a lot of how many games do lack a decent villain. Like there's like Bowser who shows up all the time, and he fills the role of the villain, but personally, I mean, if he's on your list, I apologize.
He's on my low list, though. He's on my 4 and 5. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, there's people that I think are just almost, like, filler, I guess. And obviously, you can defend your point. I just...
No, dude. Like I said, I'm totally fine with yeah.
But,
fuck you, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah, right? Sorry to call you out like that.
No, it's totally... No, I get you.
But yeah, so, as we move... Honestly, my 4 and 5th, I think that they're important to the game, but I wouldn't consider them, like, centerfold pieces of the game. When we get to 1, 2, and 3, though, that's like, this game was almost circled around the villain more than the hero itself. So, my number 5, starting out, and these are all still strong. Obviously, it's a top 5 for a reason. My number 5 is the monster from Amnesia. So, I have had some scary fucking times playing Amnesia. Horrifying. We used to, like, the game came out when I was a freshman or sophomore in college, I think freshman. And so, like, as freshmen in college, we would get drunk a lot and hang out and play video games. And so we would take turns getting drunk, forcing someone to play the game, and then pretty much having them piss their pants. I am super prone to scary games. And everyone knows this, and I'm more than happy to admit this, but I still love horror games because that's the thing. Is it successfully horrifying? Yes. To me, normally, always yes. Amnesia, when you're drunk, when you're with a group of friends, it gives you a little more confidence. And when you're drunk, of course, you have a little more confidence. Even in that setting, that game was still able to scare me 10 times over. I remember this one great time where I was like, if you're unfamiliar with the game, pretty much it's you're in a dungeon, and this guy this monster, you don't get to see him too much or anything, but he patrols around, and you use shadows and objects to sneak around him. But it's like the dungeon represents sort of like a maze, and he just is constantly patrolling, always listening, and yeah, like that's a general summary.
Yeah.
So I was trying to sneak around the monster, but whenever you interact with objects, like you open a door, something, it creaks, the monster is alerted to come generally to that area. So there was one time I opened up a door, I did something in the quest, or I accomplished something. I found, like, a piece of paper, some information, and the monster, like, was programmed to be alerted to run into that room. So immediately after doing that part of the quest, or that mission or whatever, you have to hide. And, like, he looks around the room, he like doesn't see anything. Obviously, he sounds a lot more horrified than but so, like, he
really
goes
selling it, Ben. Really selling it.
I know, hard sell. So, like, he goes and he leaves the room, and I'm, like, super scared to, like, move.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm having a good time, but like I said, I'm super prone to being scared. So I'm waiting there. In like 5 minutes, I'm like, is he gone yet? Is he far enough away from the door? And my friends are like, move, you pussy! And so it takes me a while, but I finally move. Well, I was sitting there long enough for him to go through his circuit and come back. So I open the door, and he's right there in my face. Needless to say, I freaked the fuck out. I scroll my mouse to, like, turn around and run the other way, but I scroll it 3 times further than I should have. So I turn around and turned around again and faced him and just ran right into his chest, and he's just like, like beating the shit out of me. And that was horrifying. I don't think I got any sleep that night. But pretty much, like, the monster, he doesn't look particularly scary, but they do a lot of good sound with Amnesia.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you're drunk, when you're, like, not even looking where you're going, but the monster is in your face and, like, it's coming out of your speakers, like, and your guy's like, oh, God, you know. It was rough.
Yeah.
So, I think that Amnesia, specifically because also the monster is the only thing that you see in that game, I think that that's why he's so important to the game Amnesia. Like, I think that villain is so important to... he makes it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, and Mike, I know you're gonna hard pass, strong disagree. I'm getting you set up for this, I guess. I really like BioShock Infinite. I thought that Comstock was a really cool villain in that game. Sorry, bud.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
I kind of spent a bit more time describing Amnesia because to explain Comstock's role would be a spoiler. And honestly, the game, if you liked it or if you hated it, there's a big reveal at the end. And I don't want to be the type of person to ruin that. But I'm going to say if you've played the game, you know why Comstock is important. Love it or hate it, he's an important character to the game. So I'm going to keep going with that essentially. And just trust me that if you're going to play BioShock Infinite, he's a huge part of the game. Number 3... And I feel like everyone, when they first heard we're making a top 5 villains list, I'm sure that this is the first character that showed up on everyone's thoughts, but GLaDOS from Portal. So if you haven't played the Portal series, GLaDOS is, once again, it's a game where you don't see any other humans. But GLaDOS is a computer. You're like stuck in a lab, and she's like the computer that talks to you and leads you through everything. Super smart AI. But yeah, they just did awesome work with her script. That's honestly that's what it comes down to. Is she was just a great written character.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Mike, I don't know if she's on your list or not, but if we're circling around back to it, then we totally can. And
she's not, but there's a reason why for just how I did my list as well. I did slightly different from yours, but it's still simpler of why they're like villains in games and all that stuff. But I added something a little extra to mine too as well.
Okay, well if that's the case, then I can kind of continue.
No,
a bit
yeah.
more.
So she's not on it. She's on my honorable mention though.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
But so GLaDOS had this really awesome progression from Portal 1 to Portal 2. I mean, like Portal 1, it's just strictly like you are enemies.
Yeah.
Portal 2, it's like you're enemies, and then you help each other out for part of the game. There's like actually some bonding going on with you and this villain.
What I liked about her too, is just the progression you have with GLaDOS and all that stuff. And like in the first one, I like the progression of hate she has towards you as you continue more and more in the game. And the second one, exactly the same thing too. Is there's kind of like that progression of just like a little bit of friendship that you get into the second one as well.
Yeah. And she's, honestly, just going back to the script is the, hands down, bar none, the best part about this character. There's, obviously, she's a machine. She's got, like, a little, like, camera for a head, and she can, like, move around certain parts. She's, like, a big swinging arm from the ceiling. But, I mean, you don't see her too much. You just hear her when you're in, like, this laboratory all the time. And simply because you can only hear her voice rather than see her or interact with her. I mean, she's a fucking computer. Yeah. Like, the fact that you're only hearing her emphasizes...
in the first one, she's the only dialogue in the whole entire game.
Yeah. Like, that is the reason why she's so strong, is because they took the best parts about her being like, okay, she's a robot. She's not going to be able to be too animated or anything. Mm-hmm. She's not going to be, like... She's not going to be able to make, like, these insane threats or anything, because she's not like, I'm gonna rip you limb from limb or something. Like, they did a really good, extremely good, like, computer passive aggressive tone with her, and they just killed it, knocked it out of the park.
Dialogue was spot on. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm sure that when someone heard top 5 villains that they expected her to be on this list. So if I haven't convinced you already, I'm sure that you've, 1, probably already played the game, or 2, hate video games and the culture in general, because
Portal
you're a terrible
is
person.
It's actually a great overall game. It's a game for that anyone can really enjoy. Even like non-extreme gamers can find joy in it. In like Portal, I feel like, especially in Portal 1. I think Portal 1 is such a well-balanced game. Portal 2 which I liked though, got a lot more challenging with your movement and all that stuff, which was a nice change. But it's definitely a bigger. There's a lot huger, more challenges in Portal 2 than there was in Portal 1.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, so that was like that was a big difference for me there.
Right.
And so then that was your 3 then, right?
Yeah. So to recap those, the monster from Amnesia: The Dark Descent, Comstock from BioShock Infinite, and GLaDOS from the Portal series.
Nice. And so the main reason why GLaDOS wasn't on my list was because how I took it was not only of like their importance in the story, but like also their look too, like how they were so in the game too, which I thought was very important to the villains and all that stuff. And that's why the bottom 2 not as important, but they were still on there for certain reasons, like Bowser. Bowser's my number 5 because he's such an iconic boss in Mario that he seemed so well balanced for all of the games. I felt like every single time I saw Bowser's in Mario, I always felt like, yeah, this is actually a villain that matches this world so perfectly well. Especially in the final fights, it was always, he always was the most villainous characters and like the face at the end of every Mario game I ever played, at least too, in every game I've seen so far, which is why I think that I put him on my list. Like I do agree with you too, though, that he is not also the best, but just for an iconic villain for a game, I thought that he matched Mario's universe very well and was a good character to have for a boss for so many times, because I never really got bored of Bowser, honestly.
Yeah, well, I can see the trade-off. So I think that in general he's kind of a filler, but I do submit that he is iconic too. He's like Mario. Mario is the same thing. He's kind of a filler. If you're making a tennis game and you're Nintendo, it's going to be fucking Mario Tennis.
Exactly.
But he's so iconic that game will still sell like fucking hotcakes. So I submit that there is a little bit of leverage that you have with that.
Right. And this is why this next one is not higher up in the list for me. It's kind of funny because mine is from BioShock 1, and that's Andrew Ryan. Mm-hmm. And I absolutely loved Andrew Ryan in the BioShock, how he always talked to you all the time. And he was just, his character, his dialogues are perfect. His reason for doing things made sense too, but also still at a point why you would still disagree with Ryan, which made him a nice villain that wasn't just like, oh, I'm just a bad guy, It's like, no, he's a guy that he had a certain goal, but obviously you could still disagree with it, and it wasn't just like, obviously, like I said already, he's like, I'm Mr. Bad Guy, so I'm evil and all that stuff. And he matched the world very well. His character was great. But it also didn't fully really matter how he looked, though. You couldn't really choose. He couldn't. That's why he's not too high, because his actual look, his character looks weren't as important to the game, because it was mostly just his voice in the end and his dialogue, which really that was in the game. Which is why GLaDOS wasn't on. Which is why I didn't put GLaDOS on here, is because GLaDOS you can design any way you really want to, and I think it would still make sense in the end in the game. And that's why I felt with Andrew Ryan too, was that he can have any style. I am very happy with the look they went with, and I think it sold it very nicely. But in the end, they could have altered something in certain ways. And then, so that's my number 4. My number 3 is Albert Wesker from Resident Evil, and the reason why he's on here is because no matter how bad the games, I played a lot of the Resident Evil games, and every time though, even though they were bad, and like the stories were they were not bad. The stories were kind of cheesy and all that stuff, really cheesy and didn't make much sense.
Yeah.
Every single time though, Albert Wesker showed up, was like, motherfucking Albert Wesker, get the fuck out of here, because I just knew my ass was gonna just get kicked in too. And his character was always cool. I always liked this character, and he was just a good guy to hate. Just the way he looked, and just right when he shows up, you just knew you're gonna get your shit kicked in. You just knew you could be wasting all of your items, all your weapons, just to kill this one fucker. And it was like, god damn Albert Wesker. And he was just so well made. You just love to hate him in a good way though. And his character was really cool, and I liked him a lot. But yeah, he's always been that's why he made my list, because he really helped the Resident Evil series in my mind and all that.
Yeah, I didn't play too much of the Resident Evil series. He's always just kind of come across as such a joke to me, and so definitely, when he's been around long enough that he's so iconic, then I understand that.
Yeah, it's just with the games though, because a lot of the Resident Evil, especially when they added co-op, they're not really scary, at least to me. But every time he would show up, I'm like, oh shit, shit's getting real.
All I remember from Albert Wesker is from the Resident Evil movies. So I'm like, I don't know if this ever caught your eye, but it totally caught my eye. This guy fucking uses the Thigh Master like every goddamn day.
No, yeah, he's got rockin' thighs.
I've got a picture pulled up for Mike here of Albert Wesker from the Resident Evil movies, and like they
casted him very well, honestly, in the movie.
They got this guy to play this role, and they were like, How strong are your thighs? And then he just like walks into the audition and crushes a watermelon, and they're like, good, get into these tight leather pants. You got the job. How's your acting ability? He's like, poor at best. And they're like, you got it.
Poor at best. But you know, he's such an iconic person, and he's a great guy to hate, but every single time, doesn't matter how scared the game was, you were scared or not, when he showed up, and if you knew the story of Resident Evil, you knew it was like, oh shit. Even if he just disappears, he shows up, you know that he's gonna like drop some evil creature on your ass. It's like, God, it's like, son of a bitch.
Oh man.
It's like every time it's like, Wesker! It's like, no, just go away. He always really made it interesting when I was playing Resident Evil games.
Oh my god.
And but yeah, so that's why he's my number 3. His look too just sold it as well. He just looks like a giant douche.
Honestly, I'm sorry. Once again, I only really know him from the movies.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how much they didn't try for that audition. They're like, can you be emotionless and can you put on glasses? And he's like, I can be emotionless. And they're like, well, maybe you should try putting on a glass. And he like stumbles the first couple times, and they're like, don't worry, this is you can take your time. This is a Resident Evil movie. And he's like, okay. Or is this how you put him on? They're like, you got him upside down, but that's good enough.
I was gonna make that same joke. And he's kind of emotionless in the games too, actually, but not that emotionless though. He does have some passion in him a bit. But,
but that's his thing. Is he's supposed to be like pretty monotone?
Yeah, he's pretty and he's also very just like, he does not give a fuck about people. He's very careless, like, about other people's well-beings. So it's like, fuck the world, I want this.
Yeah.
And I just love him as a character though. He's so good. You just yeah. It's every time I summon Resident Evil and he shows up in the story, I was like, motherfucking Wesker. He always does something to fuck up your day.
Yeah. And
the look just sells it too. That's why he got higher on the list.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my bottom 3: Bowser, Andrew Ryan, and Albert Wesker. I think it's kind of fun that we both have BioShock for number 4.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times. I forget what other lists that BioShock was on, but
I don't even remember
letdowns.
I don't remember the BioShock. I don't even honestly remember the villain from BioShock Infinite. I'm not trying to mock your choice, just for me personally, so I can't really picture him at all.
Comstock was the old beardo dude. Bearded.
Oh yeah, that's right. I got yeah.
Old beard face.
Yeah. It's surprising that's what gets it. Everyone else who's never played was like, what? That's what gave it away?
Yeah.
But no, I remember now.
Well, I was trying to go off of visual more than like what he actually does in the game. Okay, so moving on to my number 2. As I mentioned, my top 3 I think are very good. Like, at 100% games would fail without these characters. So number 3 was GLaDOS. Number 2, and this is one of my all-time favorite games strictly because of the villain. Number 2 is Borderlands 2 Handsome Jack.
Oh yeah,
fucking love that guy.
He's so good,
so funny. I mean, like right off the freaking bat.
I completely forgot about him. Yeah, he would have been on my list too if I could remember that.
Like
shit,
I don't know. They talk about like he's got like his horse made of diamonds called Butt Stallion, and like the way that he presents himself and the way that he looks too. I mean, he's got like that mask that he wears. He's not only iconic with his tone and him like constantly talking and pestering with you, but he looks
No, exactly. Like, honestly, if I remembered him, like, yeah, Bowser wouldn't be on this list. That's right. He fits the world so well. His dialogue fits the world great. You love him and you hate him. It just, he made the story.
Yeah, like, he was such a good character that they made their own spin-off standalone game, Tales from the Borderlands, strictly based
off of him,
on Handsome Jack. And even the pre-sequel, even the pre-sequel once again was based off of Handsome Jack. Like, they made this character. It was the second Borderlands game that came out, and then they were like, wow, we fucking killed it. Let's make 2 other games circling around this other guy, this villain. But he's great. In the entire storyline, you're always listening to him, and he thinks that he's the hero. He's got such the mentality of, like, I'm killing you savages, and not that I ever put too much thought into like morality in a Borderlands 2 game, but the guy legitimately has a point. I mean, you go around, you murder everyone, and like in Borderlands 2, they're pretty much terraforming this planet and killing the monsters that are native to it to make it habitable, essentially. And you just fucking come in and murder like Borderlands.
It's the same thing with my Andrew Ryan character, you know?
Yeah,
it's exactly that. He's not just like straight off evil in the end.
Yeah, as absurd as Borderlands 2 is, he actually can be seen as kind of like a righteous dude. He's very full of himself, granted, but at the end of his day, you can kind of see his point and be like, okay, well, this guy has kind of wandered astray a little bit, but realistically, he's not like some generic Dr. Evil, like, I want to blow up the world. Like, you know, he makes sense. So yeah, Handsome Jack, my number 2, easily one of my favorite villains of all time in any media. I mean, in movies, games, books, he's just fantastic.
I just never, that's so true. I absolutely loved him. He was so good. My number 2 might be a little bit surprising to you, but G-Man from Half-Life.
Okay.
And the reason why is because G-Man it's kind of sad too because we'll never know his story in the game because they're not continuing anymore. They're done with it. But he was so freaking obscure and so random, yet he matched the world so perfectly. He's just this random, all-powerful guy in a suit with a suitcase that just comes up and is just like, hey, here you go. And then it's like, and he's obviously like the bad guy, but I just can't think of any other type of character or any voice character that could fit like such obscurity in a game yet still make sense in its world, because Half-Life, it has like a really serious tone to it, you know. It's like these alien invasion coming in, people being transformed into these horrible things to police everyone else, and then you have this one guy that has this all-powerful ability that just wears a suit and a suitcase and just shows up. It's like, oh yeah, you know, I want you to do this for me now, and just like teleports you and all that.
Yeah, and he definitely walks the thin line of morality. You know, is he good? Is he evil? Like the fact that he, like, you don't know his intentions. The fact that I could say that he's almost not even he's almost as much hero as villain is like that makes him a great villain.
Exactly, and it just like, and the reason why he's like the number 2 is because like once again I can't picture any other type of character, because like any type of design they went with would just take me out of it. I feel like. Because how do you make this character that has all this ability? How do you make him look and sound in the end when you see him? And this person, the design they went with, I feel like this actually makes sense to me because I love the Half-Life series, honestly. I love the story to it. I love the gameplay to it. And I was always invested in the story, you know. It's one of those things I didn't mind, is like that there was no side quests. You just had the story. And the story was so good. And somehow this character that really breaks the boundaries of the laws in the game still makes perfect sense in it, which is very weird to me, and that's why he's on my number 2. So G-Man from Half-Life.
Yeah, that's a good one. Is his name actually G-Man, or is it just a name that the community came up with?
I looked it up, and all I could get was G-Man.
Yeah,
I just said villain from Half-Life, and it just said G-Man. I'm like, okay.
I'm interested to look into that because I know of the name G-Man, but it just seems like such a weird name to choose that character, and I've only played Half-Life 2, and they never specifically say G-Man in it, but that's interesting. I wonder why, either the community or the game developers, I wonder why they call him G-Man.
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. Sadly, like, the game is no longer being made. It's just like, so he's been the one character I've been mostly interested in, and of any game I played.
All right, well, I can move on. My number 1.
He's just known as G-Man.
Alright, so probably community given then. So, my number 1 is, I mean, when I was first thinking about this list, it didn't immediately hit me, but the second that I had this idea, it was just, like, obvious. I put her at number 1 on my list. I was like, nothing is ever going to compete with this villain.
I'm excited.
My number 1 is Skull Kid from Majora's Mask.
Okay.
Legend of Zelda.
The one I never played.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, there's so much complexity to this character. I mean, the game in general has such a doom and gloom feel to it. Skullkin almost acts like the Joker in the sense that he's whimsically enjoying the apocalypse, and it's really cool. But underneath him, pretty much Majora's Mask, Mike, to describe it to you, I'm sure you have a general idea, but more or less, I guess also to describe it to anyone else, Majora's Mask is a game where Legend of Zelda, these masks have certain powers. If you wear a mask, it gives you a certain power, or it like aids you in one way or another.
I'm actually watching a Let's Play of it so I can fully understand it. Actually, I'm still in the very beginning though. So
yeah, so Majora's Mask, pretty much, Skull Kid is like this homeless kid. He's a forest child or whatever.
Forest imp or something like that.
Yeah. He's a forest imp, and he's just like, you get the impression that this is pretty much like the kid grew up on the fucking streets.
Yeah.
Like if Legend of Zelda had like, you know, the ghetto.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid like ate fucking berries and you know,
no one gave him attention or anything like that. He's just been on his own.
Yeah,
you know?
No family, no nothing. He's
he
like fucking
has no allegiance to anything. He just doesn't care.
He's like goddamn Peter Pan without anyone to talk to and slowly losing his mind.
Well, that's kind of actually was Peter Pan.
Yeah. So he's like a ruffian. You know, he grew up on his own. He's you know, a hoodlum, a vagabond, and so one day he mugs this mask dealer, and these masks have certain powers, and he mugs him. He takes this one mask called Majora's Mask. He puts it on, and the mask takes over his body. So essentially now he is a shell, like trapped in his own body, and Majora is controlling him. He gets like hungry on power, essentially, where he starts to lose himself. Mm-hmm. So it's like tragic, and it's also awesome because you get this idea that this is a kid who's like destroying the world and laughing about it and whatnot, but realistically he's this kid that grew up on his own that no one really understood, and you know, he finds this mask, and the mask just is one. It's the fact that it's just like glued to your face is one, like horrifying, but two, I mean, like you have no control over your body. Like there's you've let a greater power into your body, and now it's just taking over. And then yeah, like the fact is that he is a villain. You have to defeat him at some point in the game, and he is a victim in himself. Like you have to take him out essentially, and he's just a kid that was in the wrong place at the wrong time in a really shit situation. So yeah, I mean, like I said, there's just so much complexity to the character. I mean, you feel bad for him, and also he's a dick because he's just like killing everyone. He's just like, let's just end shit. He's pretty much the Joker of Legend of Zelda. He's someone that just like thrives off of just doing shit just to like fuck with people essentially. But it's like if the Joker had an extra step of complexity, we're like, there's still a little bit of Joker that's like not insane in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So
if it is, so I guess, but it's an old game, but is he the reason why the moon is coming to blow up the planet?
Yeah, so pretty much Majora the mask it's summon the moon to come crash into the earth.
Okay.
And so that makes him the main bad guy.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a story about a kid that's generally misunderstood and just gets wrapped up in shit, and then someone just takes him over.
Yeah. No, that's a good one, actually. That's actually very interesting, and because I have only just started watching it, so I'm like only 2 episodes in. So
there's a live action that someone made for it that like wraps it up awesomely. It looks legitimately like it was made with proper 3D programming. The animation looks beautiful. It's not like old polygonal 60 and 64 graphics.
Yeah,
we'll watch it.
It's Breath of the Wild graphics, right?
No.
I'm just joking.
But we can watch it later.
Yeah, for sure.
My list, going from 5 to 1 again, is the monster from Amnesia, Comstock from BioShock Infinite, GLaDOS from the Portal series, Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2.
Good one. That's such a good one.
And Skull Kid / I guess Majora from Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask.
And then my number 1 is pretty much everyone knows this character, and that is Sephiroth.
Yeah.
I think that I guess maybe because now I'm older, I guess maybe it's kind of like... But he just is a badass, too. He's so badass. His character is so warped up, too, as well, just in the story. But once again, he still makes sense in the Final Fantasy VII, what he does for passion in the end. And just how you have to face him as well as the final boss. He's just the most hardest thing I ever fought in my entire life. The hardest character ever. Any boss ever played. Starboth is still something that just pisses me off the other end. Besides the boss from Advance Wars, but he's not a cool character. That guy's character just sucks.
He didn't make the game. He was just a dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. Sephiroth made the fucking game. He was an ultimate villain. You know, especially what he does halfway through the damn game too. It just like fucking ends one of your characters just straight in front of you. It's like, what? What? And then he's like in so many other games too, like that. He's so loved that it just shows a point that he's just he's so cool. I just love the guy, and there's nothing much to say because like exactly what I said about Andrew Ryan. He is a well-rounded character. There's a history with him, especially with the main character as well. His look is amazing, though now maybe a little. No, even now I think he looks badass. And his weapon, I just love his weapon. His ultimate long-ass fucking katana.
Definitely. It's so cool. It's like fucking 10 or 8 feet long. It's wild.
It's like, I'd love to talk more, but kind of like he has every single point of every character I've talked about in his list. He has every single one of those. And that's why he's my number one, I feel like, and that's Sephiroth. And so to go over, though, is that I have number 5 is Bowser, number 4 is Andrew Ryan, number 3 is Albert Wesker from Resident Evil, G-Man from Half-Life, and number 1, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm. To retouch on, so there was that Majora's Mask video, the fan-made video. If anyone wants to look it up, it's called Majora's Mask Terrible Fate. It's on YouTube, and it looks spectacular.
Oh, wow. Just looking at it right now, it looks really good. We don't have to watch it now.
No, we're not going to.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So feel free to look into that. It's awesome. I've got some honorable mentions. Mike, I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah. Where did I put my phone at? There it is. I have them on my phone for some reason. I forgot to put my memo.
So I've got 2. One of them was Sephiroth, which Mike mentioned. The reason that he's not in the top 5 is because... honestly, I didn't even beat Final Fantasy VII, so I feel guilty including characters that I only know from pop culture. Like, I didn't play far enough in the game to see him for like more than 5 minutes in the first scene.
Yeah, I get you. I understand that. Yep.
So nothing against Sephiroth. I just simply, same thing with Mass Effect. I heard that there was a great character from Mass Effect that I
don't know about that.
I don't know, but I hate people. I would hate for people to look at this and be like, "How did you forget that guy?"
I guess in the first one in Mass Effect, yeah, the main bad guy, the main alien race, I guess, but it's like a hive mind. Yeah, he was actually really cool. I can give extra props to that. It better not be that guy though. That whoever that guy is after in the second one that brings you back to life though. That guy was stupid. I thought. But,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But it doesn't matter.
Point is that I'd hate for people to listen to this and be like, "How did you not include Sephiroth on your list, Ben?" Well, obviously enough, I just didn't play the game. So, give me a little bit of slack there.
Well, it's like, honestly, I can see why people wouldn't even have Sephiroth. It's just like one of those things for me. It's like, so yeah, I don't think you should feel bad at all.
Yeah.
I think that the ones you have on there are really good.
And I would hate to include them simply because I know him from other people. Mm-hmm. Like, I need that character to have an impact on my personal gameplay experience. The other game also does this as well. So I hate to admit it, but I've only ever beaten, like front to beginning to end, I've only ever beat Metal Gear Solid 2 out of that.
I never beaten any.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I also got 2 and 4, but I didn't finish all the way 1, 3, and 5, which are easily the best games in the series, people keep saying. So I've only got one way but up to go, Mike.
Yeah, good.
But I'm sure you've heard about this, but Psycho Mantis in PlayStation 1, when you face him, he reads your memory card, and he's like, "Oh, someone's been playing Crash Bandicoot."
Yeah. If I needed a little, I needed when I was just looking up, trying to find the villain and all that stuff, like G-Man, I just typed in villain. He actually showed up on the list too.
Yeah, and so there's so many characters from all of the Metal Gear Solid games. Every single one of them is fantastic and has there's the sniper that I've heard about from Metal Gear Solid 3. Metal Gear Solid 4 brings in another psychic villain. I can't remember. It's like Psycho something. It's not Psycho Mantis, but then obviously Psycho Mantis for number 2. Let's see. There's in Metal Gear Solid 2 there was Lady Luck or like Miss Fortune or something like that. It was someone like that. I can't remember. But yeah, every single Metal Gear Solid game has at least one extremely iconic villain, and they all have some awesome quirk about them. So I wanted to mention Metal Gear Solid, but honestly, I haven't played a lot of them.
I haven't played any of them. I played a little of the first one. I was just so bad, though, because I was still a little kid. I was really young. I still didn't get the full because like my brothers got it, and so they could easily play it, but I couldn't just because I didn't have the full function yet to do it.
And when you're a little kid and you're like playing Crash Bandicoot, and then someone's like, "Oh, play Metal Gear Solid," like you're not gonna be into sneaking espionage game. You're gonna be like, "I'm gonna run and fuck everyone up," and
I couldn't even fully understand how to do the mechanics. Like I tried to get in the mindset, I just couldn't do as a kid. I should give it a try because I do enjoy good sneaking games and all that stuff.
So here's the thing: I actually have almost all of the Metal Gear Solids in my closet.
Oh damn!
Even though I haven't played them all. My brother, when I left the house, I took Metal Gear Solid 1 with the intention of playing it. I still have Metal Gear Solid 2. I found Metal Gear Solid 3 at a pawn shop.
Nice.
And actually, I don't have Metal Gear Solid 4 because it was for the PS3 and I sold that. But pretty much like you and I could play the first 3 in the series if we were that passionate enough to getting into that game, which I would be down for.
That'd be fun. Honestly, I'd be totally down for that because like. One of the things I'm going to do is, like, remember when I said I was going to do all the Resident Evils, start to finish? What I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to start from end and go back, actually. So I'm going to start from 7 and then go to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, then 1, actually, in the end.
Okay.
That I think is going to be my better idea of doing it. Because I really want to play 7, honestly. 7 looks really bloody cool.
If you're going to do that, I mean, I've got my VR. I was just talking with a buddy today, and he was saying that if I haven't, I've got Oculus Rift. If I haven't tried Resident Evil 7 for VR, it won like best VR game last year.
Really, it won best VR? I don't know if I can do that though in VR.
I know.
I
told him I was like, I'm scared, buddy. I only have so much.
I'm really good with scary games, especially with other people. But that I don't think I can do that.
Mike, we might have to try. If you're kind of interested, I might take that journey with you. We'll think about it.
It's like I really want to enjoy the game. I don't want to shit myself.
Dude, shitting yourself is half the fun.
Oh god.
Bring some adult diapers.
I forgot about that. I even forgot they could do VR in that game.
All right, we're definitely not locking that in live on this podcast. We'll think about it. Hard sell for both of us, but
God, I'm scared.
I know, me too.
All right.
Okay. So, honorable mentions being Metal Gear Solid and Sephiroth.
Then mine were Gladys, Pyramid Head actually was on there too.
Sure,
but like not too iconic, but he's still a very memorable character though. Honestly, everyone knows Pyramid Head.
He's iconic, but he didn't make the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, which is why he's not on the list.
Yeah, and he also wasn't the main villain too. But I mean, at the same time, I guess the Metal Gear Solid.
And then TikTok.
TikTok from Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, fucking hated that guy. Hate him with a passion. That's why he's on there because I hated him so much. I just hated him.
Diddy Kong Racing N64. Yep. TikTok's time trials. Not.
Fuck him. Fuck TikTok.
Yeah.
He's a villain to me. I'm just saying. He's not iconic or anything like that. He's just a villain that I hate so much.
He can smile. He can be friends with all the characters, but no,
he's not friends with me. We're not friends.
Born from the fires of hell.
I don't care if he wants to be friends with me. He's not my friend.
Don't talk to me. You're a fucking clock. All right. So, Mike, the Olympics are going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know. I said I watched the hockey game for women's gold.
What? No.
Good game.
So, something that I heard that I wanted to talk about is someone was mentioning that esports should potentially be in the Olympics. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I think it's a weird idea, but then when you look at all the other sports that we have, like freaking that winter sport when they slide the curling, we have curling in there, and seriously curling, and they just took out wrestling out of the Olympics of summer, and they have curling, so I don't think it makes much sense, but with all the weird sports that we have in the Olympics, it doesn't fully surprise me either to have them in there, but maybe like be not like it's like it shouldn't be a Winter Olympics, it shouldn't be its Summer Olympics, it should be its own Olympics. Like we have these Special Olympics and stuff like that. It should be its own little Olympics.
Esports should be in the Special Olympics.
No, not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying at all.
No, I totally agree though. I'm
totally down for it, and I think that's a great idea. Because we play with people across the world all the time, especially those dirty, cheating Chinese people in PUBG.
What the fuck? Mike, I understand the joke and the reference from 7 episodes, but God forbid someone didn't watch our shitty episode from a while ago, and then they're like, holy shit, this went dark real quick.
I can at least do that once. But no, I mean, I'd really like to watch it, but it should not be lined up with the Summer or the Winter Olympics. It should be its own thing, but I love to see that, and I think it's something we should definitely have.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with you there, because I was thinking about this. You need proper Wi-Fi for...
Yeah.
I mean, they probably do LAN in a majority of these championships, but I would think that the coverage, I would think that the way that they stream it out to people...
You need a whole dedicated thing for it, because nothing can go wrong when you're having these online matches, or even these lane matches.
You need a big stadium for it, too. It's indoor. Like, the reason that we have the Winter Olympics in specific locations is because they can house... You know, they've got mountains. They've got people that can, like, make these bowls or these half pipes in the snow. Like, they cater to the specific Olympics that they're doing. To cater to esports, you would have to find, like, a huge stadium in the city.
Internet connection and all that stuff. They can handle the numbers of people, too.
Yeah, in the country or the city that's housing the Olympics. It would have to be a stadium that's relatively close to everything else, too. I mean, like, I think that it makes sense, and I appreciate the thought that, you know, esports should be equal, and I think in general it should be. If you're going to dedicate yourself to one thing versus another, who's to say that one thing's more important than the other?
Yeah, especially with the curling thing. Sorry.
Going back to that. But I think that...
Oh, by the way, we won gold in that, too.
Fuck yeah. USA.
Woo!
I think that the Olympics are more of an athletic sport than a digital thing. Like, I would prefer if it was separate. Obviously, I like video games a lot, and I'm going to go ahead and say I think that anyone complaining about esports and the Olympics, they honestly got to wake up, get off their fucking high horse.
Like, curling is not really an athletic thing. It's more about accuracy and understanding the flow of the ice. And the same thing what I would say would match video game as well. It's not about strength. It's about knowledge and the ability to use that knowledge of what you have on the area that you're playing on in the end. It's not about physical strength either. Because, like, if you've seen, no offense to the curling people, I mean, congratulations to all of them making the Olympics and all that stuff, but it's not a physical sport. I mean, if you've seen them, they look like average people in the end, and that's the thing about, but still, I wouldn't be able to beat them in it, because they have the knowledge of it, but it's not because they have really strong arms or anything like that. It's because they have the knowledge and all that stuff, accuracy, and I see the same thing with professional gamers and all that stuff in these esports.
Okay.
Is that they have the speed and they have fast reaction times, fast speeds. They have the knowledge of maps and knowledge of, like, the rules of the game, of what can work and what can't work. So I can fully see them. But I also agree with you at the same time, though, is that they shouldn't, because curling is perfect for the Winter Olympics because, yes, there's actual still physical movements. And esports is something that is still different, but I still see there's high skills in those. Though people don't say it's just a game. But curling is just a game. Snowboarding is just an entertainment thing too. So to say that they're just games is stupid in my mind, because all these sports are just games in the end. Football is just a game. Soccer is just a game. Golf is just a game. All of these things are just games in the end that we just find the best people to do it.
Yeah, it's just competitive games.
And I think that esports is just as interesting to watch as it is with curling and all that stuff. I still lose my shit if I watch like a League of Legends, even though I don't watch anymore. If I saw that in Olympics, I'd watch it all the time. I would lose my shit just watching that go down.
Yeah. I mean, I think what it just comes down to is a classic idea of just because one thing's popular, or just because two things are popular, doesn't mean you need to mash them together. Yeah. I think that they can both succeed on their own. I don't think that esports would benefit much from being in the Olympics, and vice versa. I don't think the Olympics would benefit much from hosting esports.
I don't think that you can do it effectively either in the end. Just for the amount of stuff that you need to make it go well, that it needs to be on its own, because it can't. There's so much that to have an esports go well, you need so much.
Yeah, and
in
that
itself.
But that being said, I think that there should be an Olympics type of esports championship. So
yeah,
any championship thus far in esports is specifically League of Legends or Counter-Strike or etc., etc., etc. it would be really, really cool if someone essentially made a multiple game competition where you do have teams that are representing countries. Like, I like that idea where...
So, like, you're saying that it has these... these people making these games for the Olympics, that one of the games is a MOBA game, another one's a first-person shooter game, another one's a team-based game.
Not specifically like by genre, but more just the game itself. I mean, you can have Call of Duty and Rainbow Six Siege sitting side by side, the same way that you can have figure skating and speed skating. Like, they're both generally this... Yeah. Not that they're exactly the same, but neither are Siege and Counter-Strike and Overwatch or anything. I just mean any game that has a competitive scene. Invite multiple people... invite multiple countries with a team to sponsor that country. Invite them to, like, have a championship that lasts, like, a week, 2 weeks, like the Olympics. And
how long does the Olympics last for?
It lasts, like, a while. It lasts, like, 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
But essentially, you know, first week is the Call of Duty slot where, you know, the first 2 days, the Call of Duty players from all the different countries, they play, you know, round robin, like best of 5 or something, and that takes 2 days. The next slot is, you know, days 3 and 4. Counter-Strike or Hearthstone or CSGO or something. Like,
Overwatch.
That would, yeah, I mean, essentially, this would play out like AGDQ, like Awesome Games Done Quick on Twitch, where it's just one game after another, but with the same theme of, instead of speedrunning, like AGDQ, it would be a competition worldwide. Yeah. I mean, I think that would draw so many viewers.
Yeah, I totally agree. That'd be great. And oh my god, like a PUBG kind of Olympics thing, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think that the normal Olympics would hold esports back. I think that they can survive 100% if they just did their own fucking thing.
Yeah. So it's like, God, yeah, think about that then. So then...
The E-lympics. I'm just going to go ahead and trademark that right now. If you start hearing that shit anywhere else, you heard it here first. That was fucking...
Nailed
timely.
It. Yeah, no.
Synced up.
That was great.
The E-lympics.
That's so good. I would love to watch that. And just the idea of like a battle royale or like a PUBG. What are those games called? It's like a PUBG game. What are those called?
Yeah, it's massive online battle arena.
That would be really cool to see, like all the countries versus each other and like doing that. That'd be a great like final thing to watch. All that stuff.
Yeah.
I would just love to see that. That'd be great.
It would be sweet. As much as I love AGDQ, it would hit the same notes. You know, it would be a big gaming convention, multiple games. You see what is,
and they wouldn't even have like worry about advertisement because every single gaming company would want to be advertised during that event, and they would just get a shit ton of money from that alone.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you can even see that from the individual competitions themselves. Yeah. You know, fucking like Spider and Alienware sponsor like League of Legends championships. So yeah, like these tech hardware or gaming companies, they would just do the exact same thing.
Yeah, the money's there easily to do it.
It's just someone that needs to organize it all, which granted would be fucking impossible. It's like the first year of the Olympics, you know, like how impossible was that to put together?
You just gotta start somewhere.
For someone to be like, hey, come to this country and bring like 5 of your best
people,
runners.
Especially was that during like wartime too as well.
I mean, yeah. Sorry. I guess going back to the Olympics, I mean, we're going all the way back to, like, ancient Greece. Maybe it's not the best example, but the point is that it's fucking hard to organize this shit.
But it's easy. But so much easier now, though, because, honestly, in the gaming world, a lot of, like, there's not really an issue with, like, across the borders in the gaming world, though. There's a lot of times when you have, like, opposite countries facing each other in a very friendly environment, which I noticed. Except for the dirty Chinese who cheat all the time.
I feel like you say that once and it's a joke. You say it a second time, someone's like, is Mike wearing like a KKK outfit on the other side of this podcast?
Oh, God. I'm Jewish, so I can get away with some things.
I'm Jewish, I can make fun of the Chinese. How does that work, Mike?
We're cool buddies, dude. We're the same thing.
Oh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I kind of touched on this earlier, but how would you like to see that set up? Would you like to see like because I'm only familiar really with League of Legends, and how and their championships and their pro teams. So let's say Team Solo Mid they've got, from what I remember, I mean, we're talking like way fucking back in the day. They've got like Dyer's the odd one.
Well, the thing is, like, I like how they do with hockey teams. When I watch the hockey, they take hockey players from each separate team. So I wouldn't want to see like Team Solo Mid only just play them together. I want them like to find the best of the best of the best. Okay. And each team knows like they work great with each other, but I believe there is this understanding who's actually like the best ADD, who's the best, tank, who's the best jungler, and I love to see them together.
That's what I was gonna say. Is would you like to see it team sponsored or country sponsored?
I would love to see country sponsored. I'd love to see how because I don't know how to be done, but that's what I'd love to see. Like, how would we figure this out? Who would be the best in the country? How do we decide this?
Yeah, and it would be cool to see a dream team like basketball.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, this is kind of not hitting the exact same notes, but basketball they had who were the guys who's like the entertainment basketball team, the Globetrotters.
The Globetrotters.
Yeah, like the Globetrotters, they're just like a bunch of dudes, acrobatic. They don't play sports realistically or anything, but what they do is they're really good at the one thing that they do. Fuck, this is a terrible example. Why am I sticking with this?
Yeah, you hate basketball.
Ah, god damn it. Okay, I wish I went with another example. But the point being is that they pretty much, like, it's almost a completely separate team outside of what they would normally be doing. Well, that was the worst fucking example.
I really don't. I'm trying to help you out here, but I can't. I'm sorry. I think that was just...
Shame.
Shame. I think that what we said before, I think is just like, yeah. It's just like, I'd love to see just to beforehand, like how these countries find out, all right, who is actually the best people to play mid in League of Legends, who's the best person to play jungle. Just even before Olympics, that'd be a great event to watch in itself too.
Yeah, like top lane versus top lane only or something, and just have like a ladder of that.
And that'd be so cool to see, especially in other games. Like, I don't know all the other roles, like in Overwatch, who'd be the better support? Who's the better tank? Who's the better freaking Winston?
Best Roadhog NA.
Yeah. It'd just be so cool to see how people would come up with these competitions to figure out who would be to make these dream teams, like you said.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And that alone would be so entertaining to see, because then you had the preseason before the Olympics, and you get to see all the competitions to make the dream team, and then you actually had these dream teams face off each other in other countries. Like, oh my fucking god, people lose their shit. At least in the gaming community, and the gaming community keeps on growing and growing and growing.
It would be awesome.
There is an audience for it. That would definitely make its cost.
Yeah. Damn it, Mike. I found out some heartbreaking news.
Oh, yeah?
It appears as though the phrase E-lympics has already been taken.
Huh? What?
So that you didn't hear this first. There is one Twitter account. You son of a bitch.
Wow. They just fucking wasted it.
Yeah,
jackasses.
No, someone. Okay, so there's a couple other references in articles and stuff, but you know what? We'll start the trendy trend. Even though someone said it first, we'll start it where people.
Set the trend.
Yeah, people will start picking up and they'll be like, "Where did you hear from?" And they'll be like, "Oh, you know that podcast We Can't Code?" And be like, "Fuck no." And be like, "Well, that's where I heard it."
You should go watch it because they're great. No, we appreciate if you lied for us like that.
Well, they're awesome, I guess. They're awesome if you like two people just banging their head on a desk over and over for 2 hours.
Man, you can't just catch them hungover and just have like a 20-minute podcast.
Do you like rants? No. Okay, well maybe you shouldn't watch it. So yeah, I'm glad that we're kind of on the same page. I kind of like just talking out loud about these ideas because like esports Olympics, the E-lympics, that sounds like a super cool idea.
Yeah. But it'd be so silly to have that in the middle of like after watching like a hockey game. All right, now let's go over to these esports. I'm like, it doesn't make much sense. Or the same thing with the summer events. Like they usually finish with the cycling people. Let's go over and watch freaking Counter-Strike. And I'm like, what?
So Mike, are you saying that you're down for a separate but equal plan because your KKK outfit here ain't looking too promising?
Damn it! I'm gonna get kicked out now, dude.
Mike doesn't like the Chinese, and he's a heavy advocate for separate but equal E-lympics and Olympics. I just like to smear feces all over your image.
Yeah, it's really great. Thanks, dude. He's like, yeah, I'm Jewish, but I really hate Jewish people too.
What an asshole!
I hate everyone equally. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah.
We should all be put in our own camps.
Oh God.
It's like, why did I pick this guy to be my partner in this podcast? What did I get myself into?
All right. We can move on. I mean, I think that we pretty much covered that. Honestly, if someone that has organizing power, listen, I doubt that anyone listens to this that has been like organizing League of Legends championships.
This stuff does not have the time. People who organize this kind of stuff do not have the time to listen to podcasts.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they like download it for their flight when they're going.
Maybe.
We'll see. Anyway, it would be really cool to hear talks of an E-lympics. I mean, we could even do like an annual thing. We could do like a biannual thing. Like, so many changes happen in esports so often, patches and whatnot, that honestly every 6 months or so you could have this event.
It'd be cool if they had like gaming companies that like do patches. Like, they set aside one patch, like, all right, this is the Olympics patch, so this is what the people that are being playing in, so they get to play this patch all the time, so that they know what they're going to be playing into and all that stuff. Because like I said, patches happen all the time, and usually they wait sometimes after like a game thing has happened, and then they put the patch in. The competitions would be cool if they put like a separate patch, for Olympic Games only and all that stuff, where they make things more balanced or something like that. They try to find all this equality for the Olympics and all that stuff. Right. That'd be also very cool to see as well how they do that.
I agree. All right, so yeah, hopefully we'll see something like that occur. Just to summarize, just a large gaming competition or tournament that houses multiple competitive games, more than just your average Overwatch tournament or League of Legends tournament.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. I found a couple games that are coming out that I wanted to talk about here.
Yeah, I found some. I found there was a lot, and I found a few. I found 4. The last one I'm going to talk about, I'm really interested in though.
Okay, well, I can start here.
Go for it.
Okay, so let me pull it up here. This first game is called Never Stop Sneakin'.
Never Stop Sneaking.
Yep, and so this is a game that actually... I'm going to pull up the summary here, sorry. Lagging behind what I'm actually talking about. Okay, this is a game that I saw that I believe was coming out on the Nintendo Switch. And so that's when I first saw it. I believe it is already out on the Nintendo Switch, but now they're releasing it for Steam. So this is more or less a Steam release. It comes out February 26th. Never Stop Sneakin' summary is: the Department of Sneakin' is the world's most elite stealth agency. Your mission, stop time-traveling master criminal Amadeus Guildenstern. That doesn't really explain too much. But essentially, it's a top-down. You kind of have to like sneak through guards and turrets. The graphics look very much reminiscent of like 3DS.
It reminds me of like near the beginning of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, it looks very much like Metal Gear Solid. The top-down, the espionage. It's a lot more action-based. Yeah, definitely. The graphics look exactly like Metal Gear Solid in terms of like it's a lot
facial-wise, characters' looks.
Yeah, it's a lot prettier. It has a lot more color than Metal Gear Solid, but yeah, like characters' faces and stuff have that like pixelated look to it. But yeah, so it's basically a top-down shooter with stealth elements. It's single player. I believe it is out on Nintendo Switch already, but it's coming out to Steam on February 26th. Let's see. I found a couple games coming out here, and they kind of backload games on Steam for the end of the month, so maybe some of these aren't coming out.
If Never Stop Sneaking's on the Nintendo Switch, after I finish Breath of the Wild, I might actually pick this one up then, because it'd be kind of fun to play on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
The next one, I saw what it's called. I saw this and I laughed. I didn't look into it though.
It looks good. If you want to say it, then you can, or
no, you can go on. You can say the name and all that stuff.
Okay, sure. So the next game is called Blind Boris, and it sounds silly, but it actually looks like a decent game. So I'm trying to remember. There's games like Home that are like basic side-scrolling pixel graphics. This looks reminiscent of that. So to give the summary, it's Blind Boris is a survival horror about a blind person. The character arrives to the hospice and a week later, strange things begin to happen in him. Strange things begin to happen in him. Okay, weird. Staff disappears, terrible sounds are heard outside, exit doors are tightly locked, and aggressive visitors enter the building. So, honestly, the pixel graphics in this look really good. They do a good job of making his character movement look legitimately realistic. He kind of like moves around and shuffles a little bit, but they do a really good job of making the pixel art look realistic. That comes out February 26th. It doesn't look like the longest game ever, but I really have no information to back that up.
It actually does look really interesting.
Yeah, I thought it looks pretty dope.
Funny name, but looks actually really well made.
Yeah. I've got a couple games here. I've got like 6 or 7 that I found. Next one is called Helmet, the Badass from Hell. Spelled Helmut, so Hellmut.
Okay, yeah, because I saw that. I'm like, it's not helmet, it's Helmut.
Yeah. So I'll just emphasize how it sounds. So Helmut, the Badass from Hell, is a fast-paced bullet-storm dungeon crawler. Use absurd transformations to defeat demonic hordes, challenge random bosses in random levels, equip powerful guns, loot valuable treasures, and basically murderize a shockingly large number of demons. So this is kind of like a sci-fi pixel graphics Binding of Isaac, from what I can tell. You just have a kind of like Enter the Gungeon almost, Mike. That's the impression that I got. But you get these absurdly powerful weapons. It's like I said, it's more sci-fi rather than anything else. But just big, heavy guns, and it looks like a bullet hell too. But yeah, top-down shooter.
Yeah, it looks fun.
That comes out February 27th.
Looks faster than Gungeon. Looks a little bit faster paced.
Yep. The one downside is that this game appears to be single-player only, which sucks because it looks like it could make a great co-op game. But,
I totally agree.
What are you going to do?
Bitch and complain.
Bitching and write a letter to the game developers. Okay, next is called Mulaka, Mulaka. Let me pull this game up. If I remember correctly, this is more of like a...
Oh, yeah, that's the game I came across of. And you heard, what's that weird noise? I'm like, oh, nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Mulaka. Dive into northern Mexico's breathtaking landscapes with Mulaka, a 3D action-adventure game based on the rich indigenous culture of Tarahumara. So, honestly, the graphics are kind of polygonal, but they do really well.
It's its style, though. It's not because they have like low budget. They just wanted the look of it, and it does match the world very nicely.
Yeah, and also the movement that they have with this simplistic polygonal shape. Like, the characters do move very realistically, I would think.
They match the world very well.
I'm looking at it, and like this girl's kind of like sneaking around in a cave, and she looks like there's like subtleties in her movement that look like they picked up pretty well here. From what I can tell, this game looks like it's got some action, but it's more of like an exploration, I would call it. But it looks... I mean, once again, we're just going off of impressions of small videos and pictures.
I think the comment looks good and all that stuff. What I'm worried about this type of game is that there's a whole lot of world, but there's a whole lot of nothing in it too at the same time.
Yeah.
That's my concern. But it looks like it's really well developed. But I feel like it's one of those people that try to be too ambitious in making a very large world where they should be making a small world with the same amount of stuff in it to make a very nice type game. But this is only from assumption so far and past, just, stuff I've seen in the past.
Yeah, I can agree with Mike on that point. There's no indication that this game is filled with a bunch of content. It just looks like a vast open world. But, I mean, it's on this list for a reason. We're getting kind of into the year more and more that things are starting to pop.
Yeah.
More than, I mean, the last couple of weeks. Jesus Christ. It's been fucking, like, licking the bottom of the barrel. Not even scratch. Like, anything we can fucking get that looks like a half-decent game. We've been like, yeah, sure, put her in the podcast.
Yeah,
like, these games
talk about it.
These games are actually looking sort of promising.
Yeah.
So, if that gives you any indication of Mulaka.
You have anything else on your list?
Yeah, I've got like 5 more, bro. Did you want to take one? I mean, I could
let me see if I have anything on your list. Your last one is the last one I got.
Okay.
So you can keep on going.
Okay, sure. Gravel. is the next game. Gravel actually looks like a AAA game. So this is a driving game. Think of like Dirt.
Yeah.
The driving game Dirt. So Gravel is the ultimate off-road experience, the most extreme racing game that will let you try out amazing stunts in the wildest places on the planet. This game really reminds me of... wow, I can't think of it now. There was a PS3 game that came out back in the day. It looks
really nice.
Wow, fuck. I hate starting a sentence and then like not remembering what it is. Fuck. There was a driving game back in the day for the PS3. It was like a console. It was like one of the opening games released, but it was like a dirt rally race kind of game. And this looks very much like that. But it comes out February 26th. The graphics, in no way would you ever expect this to not be a AAA game. The graphics look incredible.
The guys who made this game made a shit ton of driving games, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm looking them up, and they have a 4-page list of things.
Yeah, so that's Gravel. I'm not the biggest driving fan, so this is probably the game that I would suggest the least out of this list, but that's simply because I just don't really like driving games. Other than that, there's no reason to believe that this wouldn't be a good
they made
game.
a lot of DLC too, so they made up to 21 games. They all look really nice games, though. So what's your next on the list?
I was trying to spell it. It's... if I can't spell it, we're going to have a real goddamn problem here.
Yeah, well, I know I'm going to have a problem if I can't fucking spell it.
Apocalypsis. We're just going to try to shoot for it here. Okay. It is pronounced Apocalypsis, yes. Apocalypsis is a point-and-click adventure game in the vein of games like Samrost and Machinarium, where all puzzles have a hidden meaning, with a unique art style inspired by 15th century engravings, which easily the best selling point of this game is the artwork. Mike, I can skip ahead. This is what it looks like.
Okay.
So, with try that again. With a unique art style inspired by 15th century engravings, it tells a story about a heartbreak, redemption, and quite literally the end of the world. So, this game looks awesome. It has the same idea of, like, if you were looking at tapestry or, like, Egyptian-style drawings or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just... It's very 2D. The characters, like, their arms are kind of, like, out and emphasized a bit more and whatnot. It's all generally black and white with some hints of basic color.
Yeah. It reminds me of, like, if you've ever seen the Holy Grail, when they go to, like, the paper scenes and stuff. Kind of that style, but much more well-designed out.
Yeah, for sure.
And less of a joke design, rather. It's more of a serious look to it.
Yep. I agree. So that's Apocalypsis. I probably mispronounced that I probably pronounced that differently every single time I said it, but I apologize. Okay, Mike, this next game you and I we should totally get. The game is called Last Man Sitting. I just want you to look on my screen. Just take a look at some of this action. So pretty.
I've seen this like as a GIF once. I didn't realize it was actually a game.
Okay, so I'll read the summary. Sure. A bunch of dudes sit in an office, and all of them are wearing black suits, a white collared shirt. Everyone sits in the same lime green swivel chairs. For a game, Last Man Sitting sounds really boring. You add shotguns and ragdoll physics though, and you have a recipe for the only battle royale game left to make. So pretty much, you get an office. It's a large open office. Everyone is in a swivel chair and you've got a shotgun. You use the shotgun pretty much as a way to shoot people and as a way to propel yourself across the room. And all you do is just knock shit over and try to get the others out of their chair.
See, this is a great game to play with friends that can all just play computer games together. I'd be down to play this game.
It looks like a fun game to pull out for like a weekend and play. I'm sure it'll get boring really quickly, but it just looks great.
It's fun. It looks great.
They
even have apparently soccer. You can play soccer net.
And the graphics, I mean, like the presentation and the aesthetics of the game are fine. It's nothing special, but it doesn't look like a piece of shit game.
Yeah, it doesn't look like an asset flip.
Yeah. So
they put some effort into this and designing the level and all that stuff, which I really appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something definitely I'd be totally down to get. Like, we need to get at least like 4 people to play this together.
You've got it pulled up. I forgot the release date.
Early 2008. That bullshit crap.
Damn it. Okay, so it doesn't have a specific release date, but I guess that is coming out at some point. Okay, next game is a game that we played, that Mike and I played with a friend back in the day. This is called Heroes of Hammerwatch. So
that game was fun as fuck.
It was awesome. So Hammerwatch is a great game. It's a top-down dungeon crawler. You pick a class and you go through and fight all these monsters, and it's pretty fucking hard, honestly. But we had a great time playing it. It's just like an RPG. It's a class-based RPG
I'm definitely
dungeon
not
crawler.
this again. This was so much fun to play.
Yeah, it was great. The original game was called Hammerwatch. This one's called Heroes of Hammerwatch. The summary is, pretty much I already said this, but Heroes of Hammerwatch is a roguelite action-adventure. Explore and battle your way through procedurally generated levels on your own or with up to 3 friends. So it's a beautiful-looking game. The pixel art is fantastic. It's just so much freaking fun to play with some friends. And honestly, Mike, we only played it for like 2 days and we beat it. The first one was a short game. I'm sure this one might be like a little longer. We'll see. But it doesn't even matter. It was a great time.
I wonder if you can teleport in this game too.
Yeah. Sorry, inside joke. Mike, and then you said that you had the last game, so if you wanted to talk about that.
No, you can go for it. We can talk about it together.
Sure, okay. So I didn't play this original one, but
Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2.
Yeah, Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2. So this is a... when I look at this, the first thing I think of, and I'm sure you do too, is...
Metal Slug.
Yeah, Metal Slug, 100%.
Much more fluent, though. This one has a lot more fluidity to it. Like, Metal Slug's a very stiff game. This seems very fluid.
And there's no pixel graphics in this. Metal Slug is very well renowned for having...
There's voice acting in this, too, and the story looks really good, too. Looks funny.
So pretty much, from what I can tell, it looks like there's some World War II. It's okay. I'll read the summary first, and then Mike, you can kind of describe the game a bit. Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2 revives the good old. I've got to open this up. Sorry. Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2 revives the good old action platform run and gun genre, but this time with a bunch of humor and buckets of blown off body parts. In the sequel, Vinnie Cannoli's story continues, and this time it's personal. I mean, not that anyone gives a shit. This game doesn't look like you'd be playing it for the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, side-scrolling game, just a lot of guns, a lot of shooting. It doesn't look like you've got to worry about anything like bullets or ammo or anything. It's just keep fucking shooting like a Metal Slug game. It looks freaking awesome. The more and more I look into it, there's just a whole lot of action going on.
And it looks like fun, too. It just looks fun.
For sure. So that game, Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2, comes out March 2nd.
Like, I can see some zombies and aliens, too, in one of the cutscenes. And so it sounds like almost the same story as Metal Slug. But it feels like you're some mob person that gets stuck in the war, too, while you're trying to deal with something. Because, like, the main character is that mobster, and then one of the side characters I saw you can play as a soldier. So it looks like he apparently, while he's trying to get something done, he gets dragged into the war during the process.
Yeah.
But it looks cool as fuck, though. It looks fun.
It looks great. All these games, granted with the exception of Gravel, all these games are very clearly just like indie games for the most part, but I mean, all of them look fantastic.
It looks like it takes like the gameplay of Metal Slug, but takes the advantage of the new game controls we have now, so you have more fluid control of your character.
Yeah.
Because with Metal Slug, it was very stiff. Like, you only can aim up, angled, or straight. With this, you can like have like a full 360 motion of where you aim at and all that stuff, which is nice.
And it actually looks like they have a built-in physics engine. As with Metal Slug, there wasn't like an actual physics engine of like, you know, something blows up and it goes flying around the screen.
Yeah. This one, there's like so much going on in the background, and like with the characters, with the weapons. It looks very beautiful. Mm-hmm. The style seems very nice too.
Did you have any other games, Mike?
Yes, I had one that was sort of piqued my interest. It was called One Duck Dungeon. Okay. And just it's a single player game, but all it is basically a D&D game that you play by yourself. You pick a certain dungeon to go through, and you pick your character you want to play as, and it's all just stats and stuff and dice that you can do. So it's exactly like D&D, and you just play. I guess like the game makes the level and all that stuff for you, so you don't have to worry about a dungeon master. So if it's something that you really just are interested in playing, if you ever want to just do like a quick, you know, D&D, but you only have yourself, this seems like the game for you. Just to do a quick one, it's called. The description is the hit roguelike adventure that captures all the fun of a dungeon crawl in a single deck of cards. though there's really no cards in the game. It's just like I said, you just roll dice like you do in D&D and all that stuff and play. This one comes out on February 27th, 2018. The reason why I picked this is because I've really been getting into like D&D lately. It's been really piquing my interest. Another game I came across was Into the Breach. Into the Breach. Here we go. This is a turn-based strategy game, kind of like Advanced Wars, except you play as these giant mechs against killing these bugs. And your main goal is, like, they look like these quick little maps where you defend these cities from these horrible creatures. And there seems to be a lot of cool mechanics added into it of just how you can change the level of the battlefield, how you can throw characters out, how you can make your machines work together and that stuff. And it looks like a very quick, easy game to play. Depending how much it is, it doesn't look like there's much to it, but I love the gameplay of it, though. It looks very interesting. And the description of it is, control powerful mechs from the future to defeat an alien threat. Each attempt to save the world presents a new, randomly generated challenge in this turn-based strategy game. And this one comes out February 27th. It's a pixel art style 2 game.
Yeah, this one looks really cool, actually. It reminds me of, like, Final Fantasy Tactics or something.
Yeah, that's a great example.
But yeah, so it's... I think Mike mentioned this already, but it's the guys that made Faster Than Light. So if that's any indication of the quality of the game, I mean, I think this game's going to be great. I think it's going to be a really fun, as Mike always puts it, cute puzzle game. But less puzzle, I should say, and more strategy.
Yeah.
But no, it looks great.
That's another thing I would love
to see.
It looks like
a good tactic game.
I would love to see this on the Switch. If it comes on the Switch, I'm definitely going to probably pick it up then. Because it's just a nice little handheld thing to put on the couch next to the girlfriend or something like that, or while you're watching a show.
That would be cool, yeah, I agree.
And that comes out February 27th. This other game that I saw is called Police Stories, which is a top-down shooter, kind of like Hotline Miami. Just Hotline, sorry. I spelled that wrong. Oopsie daisy. Alright, hold on. Here's acting a little slow. Sorry.
Oh, it's fine. I'm looking up to see if Into the Breach is coming out on Switch. It doesn't seem like anything's been officially posted yet.
There we go. So here's the description of Police Stories. A fresh take on top-down shooters with emphasis on tactics that forces you to make split-second decisions. Neutralize criminals, rescue civilians, and defuse bombs in a single-player mode or online co-op. And remember, shooting first is not an option. So basically, you play as cops, like you with the exact same type of gameplay of Hotline Miami, except this time you just can't kill everyone. You can arrest people and all that stuff, and you can interrogate them for information too that you need to help complete the level. But you also get like these cool police gadgets. It does emphasize there's co-op, but when you listen to the trailer, it talks about how your partner is always quiet and listens to every single of your commands all the time. So it looks like they also still try to make it sure that you can play this effectively by yourself, which I really do appreciate.
This looks really good, but yeah, I would definitely emphasize that the game's release date says it's 2018, so I wouldn't expect this game to be coming out anytime soon, but it looks really good.
Yeah, and that's why I kept it on here. I'm like, well, this sucks. I just noticed that, and I was like, all right. Apparently there's a free alpha out for it, though, so you can give that a go. And then the last one I had was Guns, Gore, and Cannoli 2 that we talked about already, which I'm really excited for that one.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, honestly, a very surprising week. Moving forward, I'm going to start raising up my my interest for games that we throw on here. Because, I mean, I had like 9 games, honestly, that I was interested in.
That stadium thing looks so much fun.
Yeah.
Last Man Sitting, sorry. It looks so much fun.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start raising up my
Guns, Gore, and Cannoli.
I guess my interest
is definitely something we have to give a go at. That'd be looks like a lot of fun to play.
A lot of them look good. We'll see what happens. Honestly, Heroes of Hammerwatch coming out this week. I mean, we'll have to tell our other buddy that we play.
Yeah, we play with it. You should hop onto it.
Yeah, that would be a fun game to play over the weekend. Okay, next week we're going to be talking about top 5 driving games. So, yep. I know that I just mentioned going through that list. I'm not the biggest driving fan.
Either am I.
Well, this is why we're saying driving games instead of specifically racing games. So that way we're able to include pretty much a game that focuses around car driving. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm sure that there's a lot of fun driving games that I can't even think of right now, but I doubt either of us are gonna have like Gran Turismo or anything in it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm pretty sure that our list is not going to be surprising to a lot of people too, knowing that we're not into driving games. So I think ours would be similar to a lot of other people.
Yeah, if anything, I would almost consider it like an alternate driving game or something. But we'll see. Maybe there is strictly a good racing or driving game that that does suit us. I just got to look at the games. Anyway,
Yep.
Next week I'll be playing, this week I'll probably be playing some more Rainbow Six Siege. Yeah, that's the only game that I think I can guarantee that I'll be playing more of.
Once again, I'm stuck traveling, so most likely be playing Breath of the Wild, and then seeing if I can finally finish Super Hot. And then that'll be it for me, honestly, so far.
Yeah,
and
I'm
keep an
good
eye
too.
open for the guns, gore, and cannoli too, because that looks like a lot of fun.
That looks good. I don't think I'm gonna buy it right off the bat though. I'll probably wait for a sale for that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we'll see what happens though. Depending on how many, I just wish we could tell prices before these games came out. That'd be nice.
I know. So we can be a little bit more honest in what we're actually getting.
Yeah, I feel bad about saying, oh, this game looks great. Oh, fuck, that game that is 2 hours long is also $35.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Definitely, out of all those games coming out, the one I'm most excited for, if we had everyone get it, would have to be Heroes of Hammerwatch.
Yeah.
Definitely a
For
great
sure, 'cause
looking
we
team
absolutely
game.
love the first one.
Yeah. But, all right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah.
As always, we'll be continuing to do this weekly.
Yeah. Have a good one.